guys, this is Carrie Fullerton Professional Organizing, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about refrigerators. First, I'm going to tell you how I have my refrigerator organized, and then we're going to talk a little bit about Tania Lourenco and what she says about organizing a refrigerator as a professional organizer. And so we'll first start with my refrigerator and a little bit about why mine is organized this way. Now, there are lots of things on the internet about how you should organize your refrigerator, but I have to organize my refrigerator how life works for me. And this is a good area for you to start if you want to start with my ideas, and then you can tweak it to fit you and your lifestyle. But if you have a habit of squeezing your food into your refrigerator just anywhere you want to put it, it usually winds up that everything that you put in first gets pushed all the way to the back of the refrigerator, and then it gets lost, and then it goes to waste. Now, I really believe that your refrigerator, your freezer, and meal planning, all three go hand in hand, and it doesn't have to be hard. It goes hand in hand because you will only have the ingredients that will fit in your refrigerator, freezer, and you'll know what you're purchasing and what's in there because of your meal plan. Now, the way I work my meal plan, if you've seen some of my, if you've listened or watched some of my YouTubes, is I always have chicken on Mondays. So I'm always going to have chicken in my freezer. I have wings on Wednesdays or Thursdays, so I always have wings. I have one section for beef in my freezer because we don't eat as much beef as we do chicken, and that's just for health reasons that I won't go into. And so that's how my freezer and refrigerator are organized. So I always know how much to keep and where to put it, and I don't overflow and I don't lose ingredients because I use them for my meal plans. So just a little bit about that and why I'm going into refrigerator organizing in the first place. Because you want to be able to find your stuff. Now, if you buy items in bulk that you use to refill your condiment containers, then I would keep those in the very, very back of the refrigerator because those are items you're not going to need to get to very often. And then the stuff that you do need to get to on a daily basis won't get lost back there and just spoil. So that's what I do. Like, I buy 2 things of sour cream. They come together at Sam's in 2 squeeze bottles. So the one squeeze bottle can be at the very back of the refrigerator because 1, it's not going to spoil back there, and 2, once I run out of the first one, I know where to look for the second one. So that's what I mean by when you buy bulk items. I'm not talking about huge amounts of items. Just sometimes you wind up buying 2. You can put that in the very back. Another thing to put in the back of the refrigerator to take up that wasted space is your baking soda, so that's back there absorbing odors, and it's in the back taking up that space that would normally get wasted, or would your food would go back there to spoil. So there are things that you can do to take up all the space in your refrigerator, utilize the space without wasting food. And that's the purpose of being organized, is to save money, not to be wasteful. And that's the same reason for meal planning and keeping your freezer and refrigerator organized, is save you money. So what you need to do when you are going to organize your refrigerator is just go ahead and take out all the expired stuff, or take everything out. This is a good opportunity to clean all the shelves, and then think about where you want to place things and move shelves around if that is needed. So on my top shelf, what I keep on the top shelf is protein drinks and electrolyte drinks, because that's what we drink. So that is on the top shelf. You can put whatever drinks you want up there, or you can put leftovers up there, yogurt, cheese, deli meats. Those are good items that for the top shelf. For the middle shelf, I did divide that shelf into two. I bought one of those portable shelves that you put in your cabinets from Walmart, so you can utilize that whole space. That way I have my eggs and leftovers on that top shelf, and on the bottom shelf I have condiments, and that's how I utilize all of my refrigerator. Now the drawers, on the very, very bottom drawer, I have a plastic container inside that bottom drawer, and that's where I put all of my meats when they're defrosting, or any raw meats whatsoever I put in there. That way if they do leak, they leak in that container, and I can just pull that container out and wash it, and it keeps that bottom drawer clean. And then that there's two drawers, so that was the bottom. The top drawer is where I keep any produce or any sugar-free puddings and sugar-free jellos and stuff like that. I do keep them in a bin because they can be stacked and still leave room in the drawer for other things that I put in there. Sometimes I put in extra heavy creams in there, produce. Yeah, that's what I put in the drawers. Okay, and then on the refrigerator door, the very top section is for all of my husband's things. He's diabetic and he likes cheese slices, where I like real cheese. I don't consider the cheese slices real, so that's his area. We have beef sticks, and we have cheese sticks, and then we have sliced cheese and low carb tortillas, and maybe a little container to hold any leftover condiments that come in those little ketchup packets from fast food. That's what's on that drawer. And then the next one, where it would normally you would have your gallon of milk and your iced tea. I just have a gallon of iced tea and my heavy creamer that I put in my coffee. That's what I have in that middle space. And then at the next little section are all my condiments and stuff that I use on a regular basis. And then at the bottom will be the things that I don't use as often, like soy sauce, lemon juice, some of those things that I don't use as often. So that is what I keep in the refrigerator door. Oh, and I did forget the little butter, where I keep the butter, but everybody knows where the butter goes in the refrigerator. And I might actually keep a package of cream cheese, that if I'm going to bake something with cream cheese or cook something with cream cheese, I might put that in there so that it stays kind of soft. But we're going to talk about Tania Lourenco and what she says about organizing her refrigerator. She talks about the same thing I did. She realized that she had a lot of fruits and vegetables that were going to waste. And she says, you know, when you buy something because you think you will start that diet, but you never do, and you end up with a lot of broccoli and cauliflower going to waste, that's what was happening to her. Now, in my case, we do eat quite a bit of cauliflower, but yeah, the point is, you know, if you're wanting to start that diet and you don't have easy recipes and you don't have it prepped just right and you don't have it organized and ready to use, then you procrastinate, and then that all that produce just goes to waste. She says another thing that she realized is she was buying a lot of kids snacks like yogurts, string cheese, because she thought the kids would eat it, but they no longer were interested. So that was in her refrigerator. She says, and the thing is, I was still buying the same things that I bought for them 3 years ago, when in fact they grew up, they lost interest and didn't like those items anymore. She says, well, that day was a reality shock for her. And the thing is, she realized that 50% of her refrigerator actually went to waste. She was heartbroken and felt really guilty because she knows in other countries, a lot of people don't have the luxury of having a fully stocked refrigerator. And for us in America to let our food go to waste while there are people in other countries that are hungry, or even people in our own country that are hungry, it's really, that's another reason to not waste food. She says, when I moved on to the next, she says, now I'm going to move on to the next step, because her first step was just getting rid of all the expired foods. So I had a lot of food going to waste. I felt guilty. I did something about it. I actually grabbed a whole bunch of containers that I already had in my home. And you know, the containers that you have saved for leftovers, and usually ice cream containers that most people save when there's a party and people want to bring food home. And she started using those. She says, I used those as organizers for my fridge drawer, and it was a game changer. She wanted to try out using those things that she already had. She wanted to try those things out first and see if or how she can maximize her refrigerator and not waste any more food. So then she says, because that day I was able to see that I had in my veggie drawer what I had in my fruits drawer, and I didn't have to run to the supermarket to get anything without actually needing it, because I could see from the start what I had. So if you can see your carrots, you can see your apples, broccolis, and cauliflower, and you know you're going to eat them and use them, then you don't run to the store to get groceries that you don't need. You finish what you have first. And if you can see it and it's not lost in the back of the refrigerator, then you're more likely to eat it before it goes bad. So when you can run to your store and get the containers then you can run to the store and get the containers that fit your fridge and give you that peace of mind that when you open your fridge. So after you've experimented with all the items that you already have, and if they work for you and you don't need any other items, that's great. But you can go and buy clear organizing containers at Walmart or at the Container Store, and you can really see what you have at all times, and that is a potential for it to not go to waste. She said, well, of course, my fridge from a couple of weeks ago is not the same as today. I have improved as I go. I learn a lot from myself, and I actually realize that I don't need certain things, but I may replace with others. I grew. I did grow throughout the process, and I'm sure you will too. She says, and one of them, you actually end up with a lot more coins in your pocket because you don't throw food away, and you most likely will consume the food if you can see it. And you spend less time. You will run to the supermarket because you don't buy anything extra. You just know exactly what you have, you consume what you have, and only when you are out of something you will run to the store. You have less food waste, and if you open your fridge less often, you'll also help the environment there because you'll waste a lot less electricity. Now, most importantly, one thing that I have to tell you is just how that actually impacted my life. One of the biggest benefits that I experienced is just less overwhelmed, less stress. And I remember looking for the yogurt and not being able to find it. That caused her some stress because the fridge was never organized. So probably that yogurt stayed all the way to the back and never saw it, and until she started organizing her fridge. Now, then she goes to talk about glass containers using, and I've done the same thing for years and years and years. I had plastic containers, and finally I just invested in some glass containers with the snap-on lids because I want to be able to use those in the microwave. I want to be able to stick it in the refrigerator. And it is oven safe. I have not used them in the oven as of yet, but the fact that they can go from oven to refrigerator or microwave to refrigerator to microwave is great, and no more stained plasticware. And so let's just go have a little, let me just review a little bit of what Tania has said. Tania shares with us how to organize a fridge to simplify your lives and make cooking less stressful. We have to have a motivator to organize, and that is usually to change our lives for the better. Tania says, I found that organizing brought me a lot more joy and a lot more peace and made my home a lot happier. And I realized I had to share what I was learning with others. Takeaways. Stress is caused when we have more things than our space will allow. Notice when your family's eating habits change, such as when your kids no longer eat the same snack foods. We often buy things out of habit only to end up throwing it away because it wasn't eaten. Don't immediately run to buy new organizing containers. Only after you have decluttered are you able to visualize exactly what you need. And sit with those containers you already have for a while and make sure you know exactly what you need and what you're going to use. A benefit of an organized fridge is you will spend less time with the refrigerator doors open, wasting energy. Glass containers are best because they do not absorb smells like plastic do, and they are often safe and can also be used as serving dishes. The first step to organizing your refrigerator is to declutter all the food that is expired or gone bad. And I mentioned now is the time to clean your refrigerator from top to bottom, rearrange those shelves. Think about how you're going to put the food back and what works for your family, what needs to be put where, and remove everything from the fridge before you organize. You will realize what items you purchased with good intentions of eating, but in reality, you aren't going to eat. Grab containers you already have in your home to organize. This helps you see more easily what you have, which will save extra trips to the store because you can't find what you need. And keep cooked food She says keep cooked food toward the back, as that is the coldest part of the refrigerator. But for me, I put my leftovers right in the middle of my refrigerator. The reason is it keeps it visual as soon as I open the door. I try to eat my leftovers the very next day. I don't like to leave my leftovers in there very often. And another thing is, now that my refrigerator, I have a meal plan and I have everything organized in my refrigerator and my freezer that goes with my meal plan, I don't really have that many leftovers. The only time I really have leftovers is when my husband and I go out to eat for date night. And then we will maybe not eat it immediately. We go on date nights on Wednesday nights or Thursday nights. So those leftovers usually get eaten if I don't want to cook on Friday or on Saturday. They don't stay in there very long. And when I cook, if I cook planned overs, those are put in a container and put directly into the freezer for the next time we want to eat that. So we eat what we are going to eat. I only fix what 2 people can eat. And that's how we keep from wasting food. All right, well, now you know how I organize my refrigerator, and now you know why Tania says you need a organized refrigerator. You know my plans for my refrigerator and freezer, and it really is going to save you money. You just don't even realize how much money it saves you until you have that meal plan and you know what you're going to cook. Therefore, you don't wind up wasting. And I'm telling you guys, my meal plan is so easy that I never worry about, I'm not, I'm tired or whatever. Now, I did just recently decide I was going to try all these new recipes. And I bought all this produce. Well, even then, I did not cook all the stuff that I planned on cooking. That fell to the wayside. But because I was determined not to waste all that produce, I did chop it up and put it in baggies, and I froze it. And it's stuff like bell peppers and mushrooms, stuff that you can freeze and use later. So there you go. If you do buy some produce and you see that you really weren't up to cooking the recipes that you thought you were up to, go ahead and chop up those veggies, put them in a freezer bag so that they at least don't go to waste. And then when you decide you have the energy to try some new recipes, do that. I cook all of my meals in the air fryer. I only cook elaborate meals when I have the energy. And I pre-cook all of my chicken for soups. I pre-cook all of my ground beef for casseroles. Casserole chicken and casserole ground beef, I cook ahead of time with seasoning. I even add in a little bit of spinach to give it a little more healthy benefits. And that is what I do to keep from spending all my time in the kitchen and staying organized. All right, guys, I hope you like these tips. I will leave information about Tania, and I will see you on the next podcast. I thank you for watching.